Excuse me. So I want this. I can't remember what the other thing was I wanted to look at over here. I'll stay over here and look for it. What color do you want to be sitting over there? I'd rather just get 100% charge first and then which means that they can't. This is where I miss that tripod thing, but I haven't seen it in ages. That might work. Sorry, I don't. It's a little unbalanced, but it might just work. Probably that was longer than that. Anyway, hope everybody's doing great. Okay, but for the most part, I get along with most people. So now it's true. My water is over there, and a laptop. The dog is being pretty good though, and yes, in about probably while I'm rolling, I don't know how long it would take to fully charge, but I'll check shortly. I'm sure that certain comments. I mean, my eyesight's not that bad, and the phone's not that far away, but I might need to pick up the phone and bring it closer. When I do that, I'll check. I do want to put these on, but at the moment, I'm not sure. Okay. I'm just going to wait for viewers and just do things over here until then. Yeah, if it wasn't for that other leader, I would think that most of the other people would be probably okay with it. I don't want to go more than one time. But I have that envelopes. It's having a gradual start. Oh, we got just having a gradual start until somebody's here. I thought that was. That means I mean, so. Okay, there's a couple of people here. I don't know why the dog's being so noisy, but hopefully he'll settle down. It's partly because I have that window open, but there's such a nice breeze coming in here, so it's early and I'm just starting the stream. I'm about almost 4 minutes in. Thank you for the hearts. I mean, it's early in the day too. Thank you for the like. And yeah, so yeah, it's only at 73. It's only been a couple minutes. I'm gonna try my best to leave it here, propped, and to not. Yeah, sorry if it falls at all. Sorry, folks. I'm trying to charge it and prop it at the same time. You know that the chargers usually. Everybody watching from, is it first time at the channel, or rather, how'd you come across the channel? Glad to have you here. I kind of want to do music. I know I'm going to have a musical performance thing happening today. I kind of want to do music, and I kind of. How old do you think I am? Oh no, the Milky Way. That's an interesting name as well. Thank you for the third like. Yeah, I kind of, but you know, it's a different thing to do music online and to do music in person. They're two different things, and it's okay to do both. Somebody else is either guessing how old I am or is guessing the third like. Did you accidentally unliked, or I don't think there's anything that could have been misconstrued in what I said. So please put it back if you would. I don't know if FJM I don't know what that stands for, by the way, but I'm curious. I don't know if you're guessing my age or if you're saying yours, but we've got quite a contrast, almost double. Uh, um, that's an amusing comment. Hello, Mitch Connolly. How are you? Any family in Canada? Or are you in Canada? You think I'm cool, bro, but you have a girlfriend. You have a girlfriend. Um, that sounds actually kind of bisexual, or Penny, whatever you want to call it. um, I've got to wonder if you've maybe heard past conversations where I've talked about those other things, and also where I've talked about how um, for some people an open and poly relationship works. I'm not too sure you know why you're randomly bringing that up, um, and I can't tell on the small picture. So pardon me if I can't even really quite tell gender in the small picture. But is that you in your picture? You're in the States. Okay, well that doesn't mean you're in Canada. How do you like living in the States? I don't like it's political or anything, but anyway, so 20, 22, I'll take it. I'll take it. You're not far off, but I'd like to be closer to that. What is an ugger? What do you mean hugger? Really? Yeah, we're just gradually getting started. It's not quite 9 o'clock yet in the morning, and about 7 minutes in. So, yeah, I'm very curious what an ugger is. I mean, I'm not actively in that, so I guess I don't know some of the terminology, the slang. And Mitch, yeah, I'm curious. What had you bring in that? I mean, I'm glad that you think I'm cool. Is this not your first time to the channel? Um, Certainly, I don't remember you ever seeing your comment before, and I think I'm pretty laid back and easy to talk to. So I would think that's someone's first time. I mean, why wouldn't they? You know. And I'm not sure why you reacted the your comment FJM. And what is FJM? Um, um, I don't know if you thought, oh, people are gonna think I'm that old, and I'm definitely not, and I feel so old to say it or something. I don't know. Also, uh, but this is an over 18 channel, so not that we get that loud or anything, but I try and keep it that way. I know, yeah, that's a, uh, but um, but I was, and that doesn't have anything to do with how they run their politics, which I'm not going to sit here and talk a lot about. 3-2 at the top. That's always a special number for me. Love light incoming from Australia. Interesting wording to you all. Well, thank you. Gypsy Spirit Tarot. Very, very interesting. So I do channeling. Tarot I find is a little bit more like just the draw of the cards, very random and, you know, with a grain of salt kind of thing. But, if you like to do it, that's fine. I don't think you're likely hurting anyone to do it. So that's a good thing. What part of Australia are you in? I have a brother that did quite well for himself in Sydney. Well, there sounds like there's a racial slur, which I don't even identify with in that comment. And I somewhat wish I was, but I'm not, as far as that other part of your comment. Um, hello, Sydney. Okay. I can't tell by your picture, but via the small view of it, I would say that you look like you might be old enough to have heard of the band Gearling, perhaps. And how long have you lived in Sydney for? Welcome to the channel, by the way. Thank you for the third like. There was a before. There's a really before. There's 4 of you watching, so why not, right? Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's just, I didn't think I was going to get back to sleep. I slept, fairly well and had some sugar and some caffeine. and I don't have plans till a little later today, so it's kind of like, oh, I have time to do this, so here I am streaming. Keep each other company, brightening each other's day, right? I'm going to go sit over there shortly. So if there's a background noise you hear, you hopefully won't hear it as much from over there. I just wanted to give my phone a bit more of a charge because it didn't overnight. Well, I did. First thing you have to do is plug it in for it to be able to do that, right? But and I know that I didn't, but it was at a pretty good charge, and I probably should have realized that I'd probably be streaming this morning. But anyway, it's all good. It's plugged in. We're good. So Gypsy, is there a first name I can call you instead of reading that out each time? Okay, I've never heard of Cornella, but okay, cool. Geerling, the band, Gerling. You know of them? They've also played the Big Day Out Festival. I have a family connection to that band. Well, did kind of in both ways actually. But yeah, I don't know how much of what there's something else I could say about the tarot thing. Not anything hugely negative, but I mean I don't do it. I'll say that much. But are you also Angelina? Is your name? That's a cool name. That's ironic because I was just about to ask, are you also a medium channeler? A lot of people do both. Of course, well, I think you're the only one here at the moment. I don't know where the others went, but or maybe they are here and it just doesn't look like. But definitely not on music. I wish it was, but sorry about getting yours worked up. He's doing this does where he's laying, looking relaxed, but he's making noise. You do? Okay. Well, it's always cool to hear from another. So I don't know if you maybe misheard that, but although it does remind me of it recently, but do you both experience that in sleep and in wake? Do you like have clients and stuff that you? Well, yeah, you wouldn't be having clients in sleep. Hey, sorry. Um, um, how long have you been doing that for? And it's almost hard to go wrong with me, and I do believe in the ability. But so, oh, really? Okay. Do you feel anyone connected to me, connected to that you might have a message from for me? That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. And that 43 years you've been at it. Okay, so you definitely should know of Geerling then. I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but I just think it'd be kind of cool if you did. I mean, I'm really proud of my brother, but no, a little bit jealous too. But now he's kind of in a different spot in his life too. And anyway, it's a bit complicated. We're not in a lot of contact. That's funny, actually. There's 4 people watching and 3 likes, but I know that now there's 3 and 3. I know that you're being honest, and it may not have been saying that when you said your age, but it's funny because somebody about either their age or what they thought I was. Thankfully, I'm not that close to that yet. Well, anyway, I'll be quiet for a moment and see if you pick anything because I would look at. And first of all, do we still have an FJM here? And what is FJM? And Milky Way. Roger would be another one that I would be curious if you might pick up on something from. I didn't know him that well. Felt a few connections from him, but I kind of feel like I would know his personality. You know, I don't want to say too much, but I'll just say that I have had a connection, one of my longest connections where I live, which I'm not going to say where, but Canada. Is the general answer. And I knew him and his mother, and they were both kind of quiet, and yet they were really lovely to have a connection with for as long as I was able to while they were living, which was probably about 17 or 18 years. It's weird to think that it was that long. But I mean, I've been in this city for about 23, 24-ish years, and I only didn't know them for probably about 4 or 5 of that. Same with Ray. So anyway, yeah, so you're picking up anything? I would really love to hear it. So I'm hoping that everyone else that's trying to be a genuine person I'm able to see your comments. Otherwise, um, otherwise, maybe else can let me know if there's any, especially since Angelina's comment where she said Angelina. That's the other thing I was going to say, that mediumship does not necessarily mean psychic. I guess I didn't have a topic. I mean, I was going to try and do some organizing, but other than that, I didn't have a huge topic. I did have a couple of things on my mind, but so we have one here. Yeah, not all means a psychic. I know I'm sure as heck not. I'd sometimes like to be, but anyway. But that sounds more like a psychic message that you're saying there, Angelina, not so much. And by the way, sorry about any lagging. Just come back into the video or be patient. It usually doesn't last very long. And also, if there's any advertisements, I don't know how to not set them on the phone. Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's coming from a specific person. Within 15 days, whatever is really worrying about this. February will never return. That's pretty specific. Oh, really? Oh, really? So can you clarify for me if that felt like it came from one of my angels, or did it one of my many, or did it feel more like a psychic premonition? A while back, I was kind of worried about my health. I'm not too sure if I still have those worries. So I'm not too sure if that's accurate or not. I mean, health is always a thing to kind of, be mindful of for the most part, I would say. The worry would never return, right? But sometimes they do, right? Sometimes they definitely do. I think I just need to get my water. Just a moment, please. From your soul to mine, communication. Interesting. But yes, I would be very, very thankful and honored. Nothing super specific that I'm thinking, but if there was anything from a loved one that, and if you could specify, like maybe I could say some names, like I've kind of alluded to Roger, Hilda, Ray. I'll just give you a moment. I need to get my water because hydration is also important. This is very cool. I don't even know I was going to get a gym like this for somebody today. I thought I'd be the one doing it. Do you want just a mini one for free. That's all I'm asking for. And I can give something in return. So. I mean, I appreciate what you said so far, but yeah. Sorry about that. There was a brief reconnect thing that happened there. Yes, it'd be nice to reconnect with some of them, perhaps. I shouldn't have left out Clark in that list. I guess, I mean, you're going to feel what you feel, but I guess if I was to say one I haven't heard from in a while, okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so Angelina, with this kind of thing, it's always, it's almost always, somebody who is of a helpful nature, somebody who is, need to put some lotion on, very kind and very loving. And I personally, well, I don't know if I should say this or not, but I personally feel your dog is. I personally feel that, sometimes it's hard to exactly interpret what we receive in this way. And so you might be saying grandmother because my mother is still living. Life is fragile. Again, I believe in what you do, and not wanting to, spread that, but life is fragile and we never know. And I did have a weird dream the other night. I don't want to talk too much about dreams, definitely not about nightmares, but But of course, when any of our loved ones pass away, I would say, of course, they are free and proud of us. And a lot of times, and this is a great message for others, I would say, a lot of times, if we didn't experience them, uh, either they weren't good at showing it or saying it, or, maybe we had a really strained relationship with a loved one, I would say that from the other side, uh, they do feel it more. They do healing, they do growth as well from that. Uh, but so even I'm hoping that you're still here, even though I'm saying that you weren't quite accurate. I'm willing to look for the way in which you are, because I know that this thing is very real, this kind of thing. So I'm going to guess that you meant grandmother. I mean, I did feel a sign from her the other day. Uh, it was kind of an interesting one too. I mean, they usually are. But thank you for the fourth like. It's interesting how you capitalized all that. Yeah. I'll say it. Well, or maybe I can see if you could elaborate. I hate to, I hate to put you in a what's the word? I'm not able to hear the numbers bouncing around so much at the top. Uh, are you still here, Angelina? I'm really happy to chat with you and to meet you and hopefully, yeah. I don't know why you're not mentioning anything about Gearling. If you're 43, they've only not been a band for 15 years, 16 at most. It felt like it was 12 years ago, about 5 years ago. So 16, 17 years ago. Like, so that's within your. So you may have been a teenager if I'm doing the math right. Uh, no, you would have been in your 20s. Yeah, you should know them, especially since they would have been popular with somebody in their 20s. Um, but yeah, I don't. Are you still there, Angelina? First, I asked that. Trent, I'm not too sure what to say. You sound like you're saying two different things, but I hope your dog is okay. Cool picture. 16? You would have been at that? Is that what you're saying? Okay, anyway, if you'd heard of them, I'm sure you would have said. Either that you're trying to. I'm sure you have, and again, hopefully you subscribe, and I'm happy to, uh, get to know each other. But I'm sure that you have a ton of my angels. Here's the thing: if you haven't realized yet, I do this stuff as well. Um, so a lot of them do connect with me, but it's nice to hear from someone else too. And it doesn't happen as often as I would like. It's been happening a lot lately, but I could say no, and that wouldn't be inaccurate. Um, but there are probably some I haven't heard from in a while or much that I haven't had any. Well, there was one kind of recent one if you want to try and pick up on that one, uh, but just the one, yeah. But no, one of my connections that has passed away also claimed to do the tea leaf stuff. That's another thing. I'm not too sure if I really believe in it. I think it's a more of a visual creative thing. It's like you look at it, you see what it looks like, you say it. But it's amusing. It's amusing. Um, but yeah, I hate to put you in a spot where it's kind of like, you know, where you might misinterpret something and it might not even be all that close to accurate. And then, one thing I will say as far as, I whenever I do it, I do it for myself. I do it for free or by donation. And if I was to be doing it more often for clients, I wouldn't charge more than probably, it's been a while since I've looked at that, but I think, and actually I had somebody pay me 35 recently, but usually I think my rate is 20, 25, something like that. Like 20 or 25, not 2025. I know that a lot of people charge way too much, even if they're good. I just don't think it's right, personally. But yeah, true. And now I'm thinking Leanne, if anything comes through for her. There's a really interesting detail to share about this tea leaf reader that I knew, this Hilda lady. Um, but I'm curious if you might pick up on it. It's funny that there's something around the top of the video here that almost makes me think of her. Yeah, I think you're still here, and possibly others are too, and it's saying nobody is. That number sometimes inaccurate sometimes. I wish it was, though. Now it says one. I wish it was, though, because I'd like to be getting an accurate idea of things. Anyway, every now and then I might want to make a connection, outside of YouTube that I meet on YouTube, and I'll do it when it feels comfortable, and I can never entirely know if that's the case. I don't take money as it's a gift. Okay, great. Well, so that's why you're trying to help out. So I'll just tell you because that feels better to me. So the other day I found a bag on a chair that I hadn't really looked at in a while, and when I picked it up, something fell out of it. And I looked, and it was a certain type of chocolate bar. It's been in there for ages. I guess I didn't realize it was in there. And I must have been out and about one day with the bag and then put it there, and then other stuff. And it actually wasn't crushed either. And it was a kind that my grandmother used to like. So, and our dog almost got garlic, a dryer sheet, and chocolate the other day, but he didn't, and we're thankful for that. We all got to make a living, though, and if that's our talent and gift that we've been given by God to help us do so, I do feel that somewhat, especially when you really need that income. So you were saying a health worry. Well, I mean, I could say something really deep that would make me look at my health. At the same time, I would also say, not to sound confusing, but that I'm doing fairly all right in that area. But yeah, if there's anything about Hilda, Ray, or Roger, or Clark, that would be something I'd really love to hear. So there's two other people here right now. I'm just giving one of our commenters a moment to next comment without any distractions, because I feel like she might need a little extra focus, and I appreciate that. But you're welcome to comment as well. Now there's the two of you, it says. So, but yeah. And of course, Angelina, if you haven't liked the video yet, I think you have, but please do. And yeah. That's very interesting. And this is your first time to the channel, by the way, right? Bike riding. It's your heart. They will fix it. I was reading that all together at first. I'm not too sure what you're saying about bike riding. And to my knowledge, I don't have a heart issue other than that it's large and very loving. That's not necessarily an issue, but sometimes it makes things feel extra heavy. But other than that, if you're referring to mine, or maybe you're referring to one of my loved ones that is still living, I don't know. But I mean, even that, to my knowledge, but I mean, I do have a couple of them that are in their 60s. So, and what's this about bike riding? And is it your first time ever to the channel? I mean, you're saying something. You're saying stuff. You don't seem shy. So I'm going to guess that just get it checked. Okay. I mean, I don't really feel like there's any indications telling me to for the most part, but okay, I will see about that. What's this about the bike riding? That's not a Blu-ray right now. It's always good to get checked. Ironically, I know two mediums that have passed away, actually, and one of them kind of knew Clark. You may have known both of them, come to think of it. He was kind of into that stuff. It's where realizing in these days, not all, but most, as I work, towards other things, but then it's that balance, finding that balance, right? But I learned something about him through this ability, which makes it, he's still him, though. He's still the him he's still the person that I want him to be. Um, you know, he might be a bit more communicative, able to be more communicative now, but he still has his kind of his quirky ways as well, I would say. And I'd be curious what you might pick up on about that, Angelina. By the way, that's a great name for a medium. Um, I thought you were capitalizing specific things, but now it just seems like you maybe just have your caps key stuck on. New to the channel. I welcome you here. Thank you for the fifth like. Bike ride, great for you. Yes, um, I don't disagree. Now I'm thinking of Kim a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I would like to, but I really need my. I have two. I got a good deal on two bikes at a secondhand place, but they're really nice bikes, and I need them in July, especially. Where did the fifth light go? I didn't say I stole them. I'm being honest. I got them at a place that takes bikes, utilizes whatever parts they can, or fixes them up and resells them at a discount. It's a huge world. There's probably a few places like that in the world. Yes, I don't know where that fifth like went. I didn't mean to like sound weird by that, but it's good to have a spare, especially when it's your only. You love bike riding, and it's your only way to get around for the most part. So I really need it in the summer, or never order one, and yeah, the fifth like went somewhere. Anyway, I really need it. Um, in about a month. And I want to make sure that if anything happens to the one bike, that I have the other one. I mean, I could be with one or two people likely that do drive, so I wouldn't have to bike for the full thing. But it's almost 2 weeks, and I really want to watch that. I'm still, enjoying time in the yard and the garden and going out occasionally. So there is that. It looks like it's quite windy out today. Um, if any of my angels have anything to, white light angel energy for the three that are here right now, we've got a medium in the house, possibly more than one. Uh, but it's healing angels of loved ones. And I'm wondering if any of them has anything to say about today, my day today that I am having. It's certainly not a day that is long, boring, and quiet. And yeah, just I don't, if you already got a next comment that you're working on, Angelina, that's cool. You can send it through even if the caps are on, but you might want to check your cap key because it seems like it wasn't for some of your comments. It seems like you were kind of fine, but yeah. It's going to be an exhausting day. I mean, it could be, and I do have chronic fatigue syndrome. But what else? What else? Uh, uh, um, also, I don't know if you do dream analyzing. Sorry that I'm asking a lot. And as it unfolds naturally, I will try and give back to you. I promise. I mean, we're having a nice conversation too, so there's that. But I did have a dream the other day, and I'm wondering. It's again, I don't like to be. It's not that I'm being dishonest or trying to. Well, maybe I'm trying to purposely withhold things to see what you might pick up on, because if it was anybody else who wasn't like curious to see, how it works for you, I would probably just say certain things. But so what I'm getting at, thank you for the fifth like. Maybe it was you and you didn't realize that it had went away. What I'm getting at is I did have a dream. I have a dream. Like when that, uh, and I'm not too sure what to make of it. Where the fifth like go? Um, and this is the thing. Not to my knowledge, but I have known one that may have passed away. I also know one via here who's young and hopefully hasn't passed away who also channels. Um, if you could put the fifth light back or tell me why you took it away. And Angelina, thank you, appreciate it. Anyway, there was also one that I grew up around and I don't know if he's passed away. Actually, I did. There was a second person I haven't seen since my youth, but the fifth like went. I'm not going to focus on it. I don't know what's happening there, but there was somebody else, not a Philip, but that I haven't seen since my youth, who I recently found out passed away. There's that one perhaps too, but there was another one from my youth. They almost looked alike, ironically. That I mean, everybody seems old when I'm like when you're like a kid or a teenager. It feels like all adults seem a little old. Maybe not 20 or 30-year-olds, but I don't remember being around like 20 or 30-year-olds when I was that young. That sounds weird, doesn't it? I was. A lot of my teachers were. I didn't know a lot of my friends' parents because I mostly knew my friends at school for the most part, or at the activities, but their parents weren't at it, kind of thing. Like I was at an art group or whatever when I was young. That makes me think of another somewhat recent one. Anyway, but so it is possible, although I knew him as a short form of that name, but it is possible that he may have passed away because I feel like he was kind of blonde, like G. He was kind of blonde hair, but it almost looked kind of gray. And yeah, he was probably about 50 or 60 then. And people pass away at various ages, but closely that I'm connected to. I did say something about if it maybe someone I hadn't talked with in a while, so possibly. Hilda seems to be kind of sitting back quietly, though. So I'll tell you something cool about her. And again, it's a huge world. Just because I know these people doesn't mean I'm in the same city that they were in, because this is a kind of unique detail to anybody that hears it. But Hilda lived to be 104 years old. Yeah. In fact, I think she was getting close to 105 when she passed. Oh, no, she just had a birthday a couple months prior. But anyway, yeah, so. But what does Philip have to say? I'm curious. If anybody else, like anybody, I'm sorry, keep writing. Yeah. That's very interesting. That first name came up the other day. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? And thank you, Tobias. I'm trying to activate my ability as well, but it's early. I'm kind of tired. It must be pretty late in Australia. That's the other thing. But I don't know if you're someone who's stays up late often. Angelina, can't not think of ballet with that name too. Make sure you all drink your daily dose of H2O. Uh huh. Yep. Your name isn't Dave. I also don't know what your channel is. But I will take that advice, though, that's for sure. Of course. That's a funny question because you've been on about 3 recent videos, and the second and the third, you never asked me that. I guess you didn't have it first, though, because I saw that you resubscribed after you'd already seen 2 or 3. But and I believe it feels like something, I don't know why I feel this, but it feels like something people under 40 or 50 would ask. And I thought I remembered that you had a video on your page. It was one about like something in your state or whatever. And you look to be close to that age, or if I was to go by the numbers at the top, 45, 46. Yeah, it's just interesting that you didn't ask that other times when you were here, but yeah, of course I do. You've been really trying to support the channel. The rest you've been enough to answer, and us, and we appreciate that. It looks like there was a 6 like where to go. There's 6 people here. Person. I wasn't too sure what he was getting at. I thought there was a nice breeze. The birds are so noisy, aren't they? Yeah, thanks. Out of curiosity, do you believe in the afterlife? We have a medium in the house, perhaps more than one. White light, healing energy of loved ones. Nothing dark. about it. Nothing like, some movies might depict. And we're not here to talk about those things. It's getting warm and stuffy in here. I don't know why, because, there's a nice breeze coming through. You don't drink alcohol. I didn't say you did. I don't know why you're saying that. And I know I said you're one that likes to be up late, but that doesn't mean that you're bar hopping either. I mean, I'm not too sure why else you are mentioning that, but okay. Yeah, I don't drink it very much either, actually. Special occasions. Not that long ago, I did enjoy some wine, but certainly wasn't good. Last night it was thunder. Okay. The sixth like, I don't see it at the moment. How come? Did I say something that maybe got misunderstood, or was that unintentional? If so, please put it back. This seems to be happening a lot lately. I don't know. It might even be an inconsistency with just YT being inaccurate, too. But we've got 4 people here. Do feel free to join the conversation. What is your first name, Mountain Dew, if I may ask? I mean, I'm not too sure if I'm going to bring that in the video form, but in comments, it's pretty safe. But someone said, "Are you drunk?" Oh, really? Like, are you talking about to your, and why are you showing, why are you there? Are you talking about to your gift and ability, Angelina, or in the comments? You did say have your daily dose of H2O. And David, I hope that things are going well. Yeah, try and positive. Um, isn't it? Like, people are genuine conversation. I'm not seeing certain comments. But I mean, it's going to be a fairly social day, but and that's not the worst of trolling either. So I don't think I seem drunk either, but and I'm not. Haven't had alcohol. I mean, I never really was a heavy drinker, even in social settings. Thinking of Ray again, not that I didn't know my other angels in social settings, but I mean, I knew her in the bar setting, but mostly karaoke. She'd had a bit of a former drinking issue, so when she was giving that up, her friends really supported her with that. And yeah, every now and then they might have one or possibly two, but and maybe they weren't big drinkers either. But most of us drank water around her. Every now and then she'd drink tea. I mean, she was on shift, and maybe sometimes she would sing sometimes with what she did, so maybe it was for her throat. But yeah, no, we were at a special event recently though, so I did have, and it was free, so I said okay. Sure, give me all you got. No, just kidding. But I've never had any heavy addictions. But no, I'm just wondering, did somebody say that in the comments, or did somebody say that to your ability? um but yeah, what was I gonna say? There's something else I could say about Ray. Trying to remember. That's kind of interesting and specific. Well, I kind of hope not. As much as I sometimes, home is the comfort place, right? Okay. Here, what I'm going to, and I think you're meaning that as the positive slang, correct, Mountain Dew? And is there a first name I can call you? I hope you won't mind, Angelina. It's just as whenever you're able to. It's mostly when I'm doing music. So okay, now you know I do music. That's okay. Mostly when I'm doing music, and I'm trying to focus, especially on that, or if there's things I'm not seeing. Like I don't necessarily need to know certain trolley comments if they're like really disturbing. That one doesn't bother me. I was able to address it, and it really doesn't bother me much. But it'd be good for someone to be dealing with the ones that I'm not seeing. Whatever it makes sense, but that don't need to be part of the stream. But if you're ever unsure, or I'll try and tell you, like Ivan, I can tell you right now, he's always okay. English isn't his first language. Uh, he has a bit of a struggle. He has some struggles he's working through, and sometimes that comes through in his communication, but he's always okay. My kid, Chris is, I don't think I think Chris is a mod. Yeah. So, um, um, and they are familiar with each other. But anyway, yeah, I mean, uh, we have a lovely home with a lot of stuff in it. Um, I don't really plan to need to move. Um, our financial situation has changed, but it's there is some there is it is looking a bit positive again in some ways. It's we're adjusting to it, that's for sure. I don't think that I'm hoping that it won't mean that we have to move, that we have to downsize, or something happens to the house. I'm really hoping that's not the case. It is siding, yeah, because that would be, even not moving out of the city. That would be just such a big. Moving is always kind of one of those things, but when you don't drive and you'd have to, and like we have mostly acquaintances, not a lot of living family, and the family that we do have, they are all older with health issues for the most part. Like G is pretty strong and in good shape. I'm so, but there was a six like until didn't know what was that about. Anyway, I've noticed a lot lately. I don't know why, but they usually put it back. So, but anyway, yeah. So, but um, that would we're not really interested in. Although it's interesting, you say next year though. Otherwise, I would say that around that time, I'm assuming that you mean sick as in a good thing, right? Isn't there a different way of spelling that though? In that case, anyway, what do you call it? I did make a pretty big move in September, um, uh, like in the early 2000s. Angelina, again, sorry to be asking a lot. As I feel it, I was trying to pick up on a name connected to you, but it was nothing was coming yet. But does the name Sandra? Is there anything about a Sandra that says anything to you? Uh, if you could say how we knew each other, and if her and I, and yeah, that would be that's gonna do me mad. And I think I've interpreted it, but yeah, I'm not sure. Sounds like you're really happy just to utilize and work with your gift. I mean, it's good. It's something that we got to keep in practice, and that we should appreciate and enjoy having. Not everybody is as in tune with that kind of stuff, right? There were no swimming through the void. He's a reader. I did not that I know of. That passed away a few days ago. Condolences. Um, I do. I wonder if there are some people that I've met on here though that I haven't heard from in a while, and I wonder if they passed away. But the Sandra thing, well, I don't know if I need to ask. I know I did ask, and now I'm asking again. But I'd really like to know. That six like again. You might not realize that you're hitting it. So what's the if I start that? But swimming would mean something to one of our viewers in a certain sort of way, and possibly something to me. I don't connect a lot of people to it that I personally know, but that doesn't mean that they don't like swimming. I just don't know they do. So yeah, like I say, when I'm doing music and trying to focus on a song, you put people on my time, or if I don't seem to be noticing or reading something out, it's always get to read stuff first anyway. Then yeah, I allow you to make certain decisions that to help the channel. Um, yeah, and I wouldn't say that with your ability you've been super spot on, but I do believe that you have a gift, and you can continue to work with it. How long did you say that you've been able to do that kind of stuff, this kind of stuff? Thank you for this. The only comments I'm seeing, and I'm not too sure if he's still here, is Mountain Dew. And because that could be misinterpreted, he hasn't elaborated. I'm just going to move that comment for now. And it's Alina. Very ironic. It would have been really ironic. Six like we'd met because well, and it's interesting. Well, that's a Darlene. The other one was Doreen. Uh, oh, is that what you were saying? Okay, okay. And how did you come into it? Yeah, if you don't know Gearling, you don't know Gearling, but that's wild. I will say though, is there anything that comes up around the name? Around my connection to that band, to that musician, although it was more of a producer now. And I'm going to sit. There's a second person here. Feel free to join the conversation. And if I don't see it and it's genuinely trying to be part of the conversation, same with the third person. Um, Again, this is where I would appreciate your help. Angelina, I can't remember which it was, but anyway. I also feel like it's getting me in that realm where it's almost activating it for me too. And that's something that I do on here fairly often. But so this is why, as the first time, it's good to kind of explore some of these things, because otherwise, you'll know things because I'm talking about them. But, that being said, I've always felt that sometimes our angels lead us to certain things, to help us gain gain some information so that we can deliver them. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain. Maybe you know what I'm trying to explain and would do so better with it. But I think I've asked 2 or 3 questions now, so I'll wait. I'm gonna thank you for the 6th like again. I don't know if someone was just like, "Ooh, I like that thought." Okay, now I'll wait till next time. My brother Simon bought tarot cards and told me to learn. Okay, but I'm referring to how did you get into the mediumship stuff? And I will say it can coexist with religion and it's white light energy. We don't ascertain the other stuff. I live with someone who does it occasionally and wants to do it more on here, and I feel a little bit mixed about that. Do you do them? Do you do videos as well? It's one of those things because I just don't want them to bring. But if things naturally come up for me, it's hard not to talk about them and show that it's possible and show how special it can be and how it helps me and maybe others. Yeah. So, but that other stuff, I don't know. So I was doing videos about it. And we haven't been able to receive our payments on here either. So, are you there? I'm not asking you for a payment or anything. I'm just asking, are you there? I thought, yeah, no, they've been. You still have your caps key stuck on. Feel like there's some sort of sign with these noisy birds out there that's supposed to resonate with you, but I don't know what it is. I was gonna say the name Bernadette, like bird, and I don't know, but I wasn't feeling it strongly. So, a lot of people associate birds with spirit animals, but I don't know. I mean, I hadn't been awake very long, and I was kind of tired when I started this, and leading a live stream, as you may or may not be aware of, takes energy. It does. It can be fun and everything, but it takes energy. And when you have chronic fatigue syndrome, so I really think it's just a matter of I'm kind of tired. But I'm not ready to wrap up quite yet because I'm still feeling like doing the stream. And so that's a pretty good reason. And also, I have some time before I have to kind of get ready for my other thing. But yes, I don't mean, well, one of the questions is just asking something I already have asked a couple times. And I don't know, maybe I don't need an answer on it, but I would be curious what you might pick up on about it. I almost feel like I'm starting to get a message about it, though. Where am I? I'm struggling to even channel for myself right now. And I think again, it's tiredness. It's not not want to, or even with disability, there are some times. Well, if I don't know for sure, I'm sometimes hesitant. It's like I'd rather confirm this before I go feeling things. But then sometimes I think I've felt the energy of someone who's been in and out of a coma. I'm really surprised I didn't feel my friend Ray in that regard. I had no indication until I came across her obituary. That was how I was meant to find that out, that she'd passed away. Um, but, she was only in a coma for 2 or 3 days, apparently. So, and, she was focused, I guess, on the people that were visiting her and, transitioning. And yeah, I guess it wasn't something that I needed at the time, but now I feel a connection to her, and that's very special. The other day, I actually was saying how with that connection, and she's someone I knew quite well in actual life too. Thank you for 6 again. That she has continually showed me how much I matter to her. And I'm not surprised by that, but it's a lovely thing. I don't think if filtering or like trying to adjust what you're writing or trying not to make it too long or anything, like, no need to do that. Just send them on through, Angelina, as you're doing. I appreciate it. Like, okay, in that case, there's the next one. No, just kidding. Yeah, indeed. Maybe watch the last video. Good content for you. Mine or yours? Oh, you are? Okay, cool. So second sight comes naturally. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, unless it's further down my lineage, but it's not only people that are that. I have a golden soul. That's a neat way of putting it. Thank you. And that's all that matters. True. It's not that I don't appreciate other messages sometimes. I'd like to introduce you to one of mine that you maybe aren't hearing from yet, although he's a bit of a loudmouth, so I don't know why you wouldn't be. He's like, excuse me. um, he's like, sorry. Anyway, my friend, I didn't know him well in life. I knew him online a little bit, and I did get together with him once, maybe twice. I've gotten to know him more spiritually. And that's happened sometime, and we can all have that happen. When we lose a loved one, we struggle. We don't have to let go. That's the first thing, but we can kind of, um, yeah, we can definitely have that desire to be connected to them. Can the person, unless it's Angelina, can the person who's liking, unliking, and liking, unliking, it's almost like the hot person. It's a bit distracting. Can you either stop doing that or go watch something you'd rather watch and like and you know keep the like there? I'm not trying to be rude. It's just distracting. That's all. Anyway, but he Canada. How about you? Oh, was that you? Okay, then I wasn't trying to come across. I wasn't saying it to you. I didn't realize it was you. What's happening with that? Um, and that's an interesting spelling of hello, but okay, cool. Europe, my man. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, my man. Andreas, right? What part of Europe? Have you ever been to Canada? I hope you won't mind that at the moment we're talking about. I'm quite into the topic, so having someone here who's also into it is really kind of cool. We're talking about angelic energies, white light healing energies of loved ones, and I was just talking about one of my friends who is Indigenous as well, which is why I thought of it. Two of them actually, and their partners, Jason and JP, and we have 7 people here. And anyway, I have a very interesting memory. I'd be curious if you pick up on it, Angelina. I think the only time I actually was ever around JP in person, but yeah, I have definitely felt his energy around. He's even helped collaborate, as have some of my others, in some recent writing projects. Romania, cool. And I hope I will visit Canada. What part would you like to see? I used to watch cartoons as a kid. What does Canada have to do with cartoons? What cartoons? So you've never been to Canada, though, right? Okay. I forgot Romania was in Europe. All right, but that does, if I'm remembering geography correctly, that does make me actually remember. You did say it with a capital C, and I'm not particular like that. Don't forget to give the video a like. I appreciate it. That does remind me of a little bit of one of my recent passings, the one I most recently found out about, actually. So, Angelina, if there's anything, and I really am intending to get back. I am. I mean, other than great conversation, but anyway, but I can show you what it looks like for me, when I experience this stuff. Yeah, we've collaborated together. I guess you could say ghostwriting. That's good. And I feel like my dad has adopted him from the other side. So there, that, and his partner, and that my dad is in a kind of an interesting. I know that, yeah. And I don't know what I think about it. But anyway, it's kind of funny because I've been mentioning garlic a lot lately. But anyway, well, not a lot. Since last night when the dog almost ate someone could have died. But anywho, what was I saying? Oh, I'm curious what you can tell me, Angelina, about Enrique and about James. And what cartoons were you talking about, Andreas? I hope I'm saying that right. And in your picture, it looks like your cat's about to jump out your window. Hopefully not, though. Wouldn't mind doing some music at some point within this. And yeah, as long as I've wrapped up by 11, that should be good enough. Well, heck, that's almost 2 hours. Well, yeah, almost 2 hours from now. We'll see. The ones at that time Johnny tested. I almost remember that. Okay. So you get Canadian TV shows there? Is that what you were saying? I'm not getting, other than kind of, I kind of am, but I'm mostly not getting the sense that you're saying you ever lived in Canada. But heck, now I'm wondering about Carol. I mean, she was in her 80s a few years ago, so it's possible. Every now and then when I'm bored, one, because, it's kind of, okay, maybe I can reconnect with them in this way. Maybe it'll be stronger. And I'm curious, and, sometimes you feel the need to go to, because, you're bored and there's something to do, and if it's of a loved one or if a relative of a loved one, you might be able to reconnect with them. Then it makes sense, to there's one that's especially close to me. To be honest, I don't know. I never lived in Canada. I was born. Good afternoon from Ireland. Have a blessed day, everybody. Thank you, Shelley. Welcome. Don't forget to give the video a like. Getting a number 7 would be great. I think that 6 has been there for a little while now. I'm just thinking about how, Angelina, how you didn't say anything, and that's such an ironic name. We didn't say anything about that. About that 104-year-old that I knew. Where did the 7th light go? Yeah, so hopefully you guys are okay with what we're talking about. Thank you. I appreciate it. Angelic energies, healing white light energies. So James, I will say this, was a teacher that I had in grade school. And there's another teacher. Hi, Cyrus Quintana. How are you? Canada, how about you? Just jumping right in with it, another teacher who I'm not in a lot of contact with, but I do have some online contact with back then. I'd messaged her something and she got back to me, and she worked a lot for the school boards, not just as a teacher. So for some reason, even in the social media age, she says she didn't really stay in touch with a lot of them. I'm pretty sure she's probably retired by now, but she did mention that this particular teacher had passed in 2024 of cancer. Now, he was not young when I had him as a teacher, but one of the things that I learned about with, the ability is that sometimes they go back to their best age. Like he would have been older than his 40s when he passed. Sometimes they go back to their best age, and or at least approximate. I'm not really into angelic things, but I always trusted that silver protects against bad things. Um, so this is where the media doesn't always portray, and it depends what you look at. You know, if you're watching certain movies that we won't talk about here, yeah, it may seem demonic, it may seem scary, and all this and that. And just gonna put some lotion on, but as I said, white light healing energy. So it's not at all. It's funny, if they have a sense of humor. It's really gentle and sweet a lot of the times, and yeah, it's lovely. And I'm really happy to have met a couple people, although one of them I'd probably have to talk a little bit deeper with to make sure we were on the same page. But another person that I met on this channel, although there was a couple of his comments that I wasn't not sure what to make of it, but he is religious and he believes it because he's had some experiences, and sometimes that's what it takes is feeling a connection in that way to be like, okay, this is real. I'm just gonna put my socks on because even into this blanket, my foot sore, and I might have to very briefly go to the other room. Now, my grandpa always told me to wear silver for luck. That's interesting. Well, you don't do blue. That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever heard of that. Grandma, sorry. I was talking about mine earlier. I could show you a picture of my grandparents, and Angelina, you might be interested in that too. Just give me a moment. So I do want to have this at a good news level for later, but I don't know if it's certainly breezy. I just don't really. I actually have Canadian silver leaf coin. Oh, I have to show you a couple things then. Not that I have that, but it's that's very interesting actually. 3 things I have to show you, starting with my grandparents. I'd really, for a particular reason, be curious if Angelina felt anything about my grandmother. Actually, I didn't think of it right away. Not that I don't always think of it when I think of her, because I do. When we do pass, I'll let you see that for another minute longer. Your soul travels at the speed of light to the realms. I pretty much agree. What was the other thing? Although I don't know how specific I want to be about this, but there's 2 people here with this friend. I feel comfortable enough, and you're in other countries. Oh, now there's 4. What was the other thing? I just saw it recently. Did I put it in this pile? I don't know. It was a thing that said something about luck, and it looked like a penny in the center of it, and it was surrounded by like a silver backing that said what it said on it, and it was on like a little chain, like not really one that you could attach it to something and wear it. And I do remember when G brought it home, and I randomly noticed it the other day, so it's kind of ironic. Just gonna sit over here for a moment. Oh, speaking of light, so I mean, what other things, but I'm pretty quick to speak about or say about how it's white light healing energy. I maybe don't use a whole bunch of words sometimes, but I at least say that. And I would hope that people believe it when I say it, because it's true. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be interested in looking at it, talking about it, experiencing it. I've had a number of experiences, and I really appreciate them. There's 2 of you here. Check out this. I think it's Andreas and Angelina, and then there's also this. So what is your connection to Canada? It sounds like you definitely have one. Where that Canadian, what was your grandparent Canadian? Maple leaf coin every day in your wallet for luck. So yeah, interesting. And did I mention interesting? Just kidding. Just have to do something very briefly here. So, I'm Canadian. I don't even know if I knew that that it was, unless you're talking about the silver thing again, that the maple leaf was a symbol of luck. I know it's a symbol of something other than simply Canada, but yeah, I don't know if I knew that. Just doing something at the eating a lot, but I'm kind of gonna have a kind of meh piece of pizza from a frozen leftovers. By the way, sorry if it lags at all. You can always go and come back into it. And sorry about any advertisements. I don't know how to not set them. But then I'm going to get like a really good one later, a really good pizza. No connection at all with Canada. Well, you do now. Hi, nice to meet you. I think you've liked. Don't forget to sub. Coin was the first that I bought. Canada makes the purest silver coins. You sound like you're a coin collector, are you? Man, do we have a collection of pennies that can't be used now? We should send them to you. A lot of them might be pretty much the same as the others, but there might be some interesting symbols on some of them, although those are the ones we want to keep, right? We actually have a company, again, Canada's a huge place, but we actually have a company that makes them, makes money. I mean, every place, I don't know how many places like import, well, no, like I'm sure every country has, they have their own currencies, or they'd have a place that makes it. But I had a little plaque that had a bunch of different coins in it. I haven't seen it in ages, but actually I got that from my grandparents because we used to go there when I didn't live here, and we traveled to visit them. That was one of the things we would do, as well as like the zoo or the museums, this and that. So, yeah. I'm just going to top up my water. Working on my project, but it was feeling kind of stuck. It's so stupid. I don't want to feel stuck with it for ages, or forever. But yeah, and you wouldn't say condolences, I guess, Angelina, because it's like, well, you haven't completely lost them, and that's the thing. I can understand why certain people might be jealous of that, but you know what? They're still not in the physical. I am thankful, but they're still not in the physical. It's hard and it's deep sometimes. To process, and it makes you almost miss them more sometimes, and or want to be there with them, I don't know. It's for me, it's not a constant thing, that I'm feeling them, but often when I'm streaming, and kind of yeah. Your grandparents loved each other more than most couples. Whether I would say more than most couples, I don't know. A lot of couples love each other. But he did live on. I guess you don't know how to turn the caps key off, so I'll know that you're not shouting, and it actually helps my ability to read it better. Come to think of it, not that I can't otherwise, but she was gone. He lived on after she was, for about so how do I put this? Like, for instance, it's maybe been a bit longer than this now, but I think she passed away 12 years ago, and he passed away about 6 after that, if I remember, which feels like he lived double as. I had him locally. I don't know, I'm doing the math wrong. No, I'm not doing the math wrong. I'm not explaining it well. That's what it is. You know what? And it'll make sense once you find out why. But I would really love, and I'd love to hear from any of them, and your perspective from that. And I know that you're happy to help with that. But I tell you, and I should probably close this door because I'm not sure I'm noticing much. Because I'm getting passionate, and I'm not too sure if I'm really noticing much of that breeze. And I need to support this right smack dab there. But there's a particular reason I would love to hear from my grandmother. A particular, this might sound weird, a reason but not a reason. Like, I'm just curious how you might pick up on her, and if if anybody else other than myself would interpret a certain thing about her as still being the case, like I do. And cakes. Well, thank you. Just kidding. Okay, I'm going to give you a clue in a few moments about what she just said about that. But yeah, no, she did like to bake. There was a particular type of cake with a. Well, if I say it, then people will definitely know where we're at. But there was a certain place we always used to get cakes at for birthdays. Yeah, she said, "You need to be joking like that." Did you hear that? If you heard that, that's your clue. If you didn't, I guess it's not. You know, I had the door open for a while. I was still feeling warm. Maybe if I hadn't been putting in so much energy to the stream, I would have noticed that breeze. But I just got to turn on the AC. Yeah, like I said, it's not that I wasn't having a social day today, but I had the spare time. And nothing super urgent that I had to do. But while I'm standing here, I am going to put the rest of these away. Arham, I think you've been here before, yes? I accept your religion. I'm not going to talk a lot about religion on this channel. We'll talk about something that can totally coexist with it. He is a messenger of God, not Allah. I mean, okay, that means more to you than it does to me. Anyway, but cool. I'm able to, you know, if I know what I do about that, that might bring upon a certain type of energy. It's unfortunate, but it's the world we live in. You know, sometimes. And I know that that's maybe not your intent. I don't know why you're expressing it. Maybe you've been listening for a little while. Maybe you don't agree with this. But, you know, I'm not really asking you to either. None of us are. I mean, if you don't, then it's fine. You either ignore it or you can still watch and listen, or you ignore it and don't watch and listen. But, you know, you're welcome to be here. As long as you are here with a open, curious, accepting nature, then yeah, I'm just kind of putting woo, and you don't mind being falling off the microphone. That's a problem. It's actually staying there with the way that cup is turned. Anyway, Angelina, maybe I'll just tell you. I was really hoping you'd pick up on it, and you are accurate about some of the things you said. That one detail is especially interesting. It's especially, and I do believe you when you say it's your first time to the channel. Interesting and accurate. But there's something I'm still kind of hoping to hear. You know, and you know, some people may, you know, some people are like, yeah, okay, cool. She got a piece of right information. That's cool. It's not really something that impacts me in my life. And I would say that, yeah, her loving baking isn't really something that you know, I needed to resonate with me today. But yeah, and unfortunately I didn't like her. Well, if I say the one thing, that might give it away. Her cookies weren't the best. I mean, she's really good with trifle. I don't remember, she liked cake. And she shouldn't have, because she had diabetes. Well, it don't mean she shouldn't have, but I don't recall a lot of what she baked. It's weird, but it's true. But it has been quite a while, you know. I don't even remember a lot of what she cooked. They said that they used packet soups or canned soups. They had the same, you know, couple different types of sandwiches every day for lunch, you know, and the life, knowing them in my life. I mean, I'm not saying like absolutely every day of their life, but in their older years, as some old people do, you know, they had kind of consistency with that. And even when we lived with them for a little while, I mean, we got that too. Dinners, I don't remember. The weirdest thing, I thought about it recently, I don't remember eating pasta with them. I mean, it's a staple, popular enough food, but I don't remember eating pasta with them, and I'd like to know why. Unless, of course, we went out to eat somewhere and I ordered some. But for most of my adult life, that's been something that I make often enough myself. Sure, sometimes the restaurant makes it more, but see, some people were going to say, didn't most people's grandparents? And I believe so, but not in the capacity you might think, if that makes sense. But I don't want to focus as much on that. I'm not really into that kind of thing. And I've given the other person a chance to say more. They really haven't. So, you seem to be a bit more strongly focusing on my grandfather, if I am understanding. And if I'm being quite honest, I don't know if he's still the same way, because I know that sometimes they are, but he was quite quiet and reserved when he was living. So that may be a bit of a challenge. I know I've always felt that. But then again, as I said to my step recently, it was hard to get to know him in his last few years because he had the deafness and the Alzheimer's. He just really, yeah. He what's the word I'm looking for? But okay, I'll tell you, because she doesn't seem to be, and it's weird, like it's been so long, like I say, and I mean, me and my mother, I guess, were often the chatty one when we were around my grandparents, but it's not that my grandmother didn't say stuff. She was certainly more talkative than my grandfather, but I don't remember really any conversations I've ever had with her. If she remembers any and would like to tell you, this stands out for me, tell them. I'd be very curious about that. But the detail that I was getting at, hopefully we don't have any other mediums that are going to be in this too. Andreas, are you still there? The details, I'm hoping that, I think that this is, it's not like I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is scary at all. But anyway, the details that I was getting at is she was very Scottish. So what I was going to say earlier is her shortbread had so much sugar on the top of them. I mean, possibly sugar in them too. Like, why? But anyway, she was very Scottish, and so I loved the slang that she would use. Thankfully, she never used a certain B word, because I wouldn't have been a fan of that. But welcome to the other two people that just tuned in. Don't be shy. And like I say, Angelina, if they're genuinely trying to be part of the conversation and not trolling, I'm happy to know what they say if I don't seem to notice. Yeah, I'm pretty well gathered for later. I have to have a quick shower and then just get to it. This helps pass the time, But yeah, I definitely should have noticed if there was a break. Then that's when it is. That's when I'll do it. Like it's, I had a frozen water in the. She was sweet. I did just mention sugar, didn't I? No, just kidding. Just kidding. But I did, didn't I? And I may have mentioned diabetes. Okay, that is so straight. Oh, right, I put it over there. Okay. So I keep wondering. I'm just kind of enjoying standing at the moment. My plan later is mostly going to be sitting. So movement is good. I'm just going to get my lotion. My lotion of the ocean. I might want to look at a few more of these things over here before I go. And yeah, other Thursdays, he'll be around, not just the Saturday thing, but, the garden is great and everything. As long as it's not too hot, but he doesn't mind it too hot, too cold mostly, but I don't know what the heck else he's going to do. Yeah. It's not one that would just spend a bunch of time watching videos or whatever, unless I make them. The other person in our home, no. But no, yeah. Here, like I said, this is why I say you almost can't go wrong. I mean, I guess in some ways you can, but you almost can't go wrong with me picking up on angels. I have a lot of them. Thank you for the 8th like. I'm curious about Kathleen and G would be as well. it's interesting, he hears me out about, I feel like every video I went back with him that he wasn't present for, the eighth like went somewhere, was something misunderstood, or was that unintentional by chance? And it's kind of like, I was like, do you believe in that? Actually, last night, I said, let's watch something else. If I'm going to be asking that question, I seem to ask every time. But I mean, I feel like it's always kind of present around me a little bit, and I really appreciate the YT community as well. But yeah, so, I'm curious, and it's a topic I do like. I feel like this particular video, I'm getting into it a bit more than usual, but I'm blaming Gypsy Angelina for that. Now, when you call yourself a gypsy, does that mean you travel around a lot, or because there's a couple different meanings to that word, I believe. And it's actually kind of interesting that I don't think he's still here. I don't know if he was uncomfortable. Maybe he is still here. I hope he is. I hope he's not uncomfortable. But Andreas, where he was from, because I believe they call them Romana, something like that. It's funny. I've been thinking about an old job I used to have, and there was once I had a customer that said that they did that, and I won't think about it. But yeah. So I am sometimes giving a lot to catch up with, and you got voices speaking, and you're trying to hear me, and I really should just slow down a little bit, perhaps. So let's do that. Okay, good enough. Next. Just kidding. So Angelina, you have been and are really great to talk with, and I look forward to the next time we might chat. I still can roll for a little bit, I think, but let's see, what time is it? 9:37. Again, sorry for any lagging your advertisements. So yeah, I could go for another an hour and a half, but let's maybe make it an hour-ish. I definitely can't roll all day, but we have 4 people here, and I'm just gonna, in order to try and kind of still myself a little bit, I'm going to see if I pick up on anything that could resonate with any of our viewers. Okay, because I'm feeling called to do that. It's a light call. I'm also feeling my own loved ones and this and that, and when I channel my own loved ones, it just kind of seems to happen. That's like I don't, when it happens, I don't seem to have to put much effort into it. I have a confidence because I know that my loved ones have passed away, whereas I'm, maybe a little less confident otherwise, but I know that with other people who I have not necessarily even known their loved ones, or know them that well, I have been right before. So, bright light healing energy, welcoming you, if you are connected to one of our viewers, into our home. That's the other thing, I don't usually have a little intro speech like this, a little welcome in. They're just like, they're here, oh, hi, kind of thing, No way. And this is the thing, I'm not, there's been a David on my mind a little bit lately that I've met on here. And I was talking about my school days earlier, and there is a teacher that I have named David that passed away, but it's not either of those. I'm hearing the name David. And there's another possibly unfortunate, or another kind of hard to mention detail about this individual. It was lovely to have met you. It's 3 a.m. Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess you should go to sleep. I appreciate that. And yeah, I hit the bell and we'll talk again sometimes. We have 2 other people, one other person here, but one of them may have been you that just left. But I guess David didn't resonate with you. I don't want this to be awkward, but it's what I'm sensing. It's what I'm sensing, and I haven't sensed this often. This particular detail connected to, and David, my son's father. Oh, seriously? Okay, that's interesting. So maybe that's what it is then. So if you're in your 40s, well, you could have a 20-year-old. I was sensing a child energy connected. It might not actually be David, but it might be a youth in your family that he's feeling. I guess you're like, wait a minute. I was going to go, but he said David, didn't he? It's like, David, your son's father. That's my middle name. So it doesn't sound like you are still a couple, but I mean, David, my son's father, has passed away, is what you're saying. That yes was already there. So say it again if that's the case. It seems to be the case. I think, he might be talking about the son. He might be talking about the grandfather if he has indeed passed away. I'd just like to verify this in an honest and genuine way. I know you haven't seen me utilizing my ability that much, but maybe while I'm waiting for that confirmation, although it should be a quick and easy one, and I know you have to get to bed. One thing I will share, and this means a lot to me, and I can't believe someone kind of trolled with this recently and said, "Is your dad proud of you?" I don't know what to make of that, where it came from, why he asked, whatever. But my dad has said that, has told me that, so maybe it was my teacher that I was picking up on, but I don't know what this kid challenge is. That's kind of odd, but, or confusing, that he's proud of me and my brother, but in different ways. Like I sometimes think, oh, he should be more proud of my brother, because of the life he's had. But there's other reasons that it really is why he would be proud of me. And then that situation that I've had with this one viewer going through a hard time right now, he said, it's moments like how you handled that is why I'm proud. That's an example. I had Matt at 20 and Bonnie. Oh, wow. And then quite a while later, not fairly recently, actually, you had another child. He is still alive. Okay, let me sit with this for a moment here. Again, your family and your situations better than I currently do. So I'm putting it together. I'm processing it, and so it wouldn't then. It sounds like be David that I'm channeling, but it might be white light healing energy for those that just maybe got here. It's this angel connected to him, though, I guess, and they are also looking at. Yeah, you did say that, and I believe you. They are looking at. They have what it is. It sounds like there's actually a message for David, and there's also maybe something. I felt this young energy, like young, just. And you know what? She says, all it is, sir, all it is, mate, is congratulating on the newborn. Our gift to her and to the family. That's all it is. There's nothing deeper than that. So whoever it is very reassuring, I'm getting a feminine energy, and she's very kind of, I don't want to say sarcastic. She's like, no, I'm being honest and genuine with you. Very nice to meet you, by the way. So again, white light healing energy. I appreciate the YT community. It's where I have most of my socializing, not only, but most of, and disability. She says, I appreciate your passion. You're a very passionate man. That was very interesting for her to bring that up. I'm kind of just used to the way I am. I do know that I get passionate sometimes, but I wouldn't have thought to pinpoint on that. She did. I don't know if with your ability, if you feel like they feel like sometimes it's more the what else they say. Their names aren't necessarily important. We hold on to names in the living because that's what makes sense for us to do. That's that's what we do. That's how we know each other and that. But she's they often seem to kind of withhold a name. So I'm not sure if I'm getting one. Very accurate. Okay, in what way? And I appreciate that. I won't keep you too much longer, and then I need to take a breather. She says, Could this individual possibly also have had this ability, or just you know, sounds like she has some understanding of how it can be to process it, how it can you know sit with however else we're feeling. And I'm not too sure how recently she passed away, but I'm hearing the number 4, like 4 years ago. I'm thinking. But she's like, have a seat, dear. I'm like, why? Just, I want you to be comfortable, she says. Okay. I wasn't not, but okay. And if I was to be more comfortable, I'd rather sit in the chair with the back over there. And she says, then sit in the chair with the back. Well, okay then. I'm not one to say no. Oh yes, this is nice. That was a good suggestion. Oh, but I also want my lotion. So she says, it's no mistake that I have met you today, Angelina. And she says, whoever she is, she says that, you know, her wording is she feels like we really do need each other. As like, as far as having a connection with each other, she says this is going to be a really lovely thing for us. And she said, you can thank me later, she said. She says, beautiful dog, by the way. And she says, I suppose we should let her get to sleep soon. What do you think? That's how she worded it. What do you think? Or no, maybe? I don't know. No, I'm sure that she is appreciating this and curious about it. And she says that she bugs you sometimes. That's how she worded it. That's not how I would word a spiritual visitation. I would say visit, but she's like, visit, bugs, bugs visit in the spring and the summer. She got a somewhat similar personality to me. And it's interesting because when I started to pick up on something, there was a few other people here, and I almost thought it'd be more for them, but it seems like it was for you. So that's kind of cool. And again, you experience. She says, "Hey, I understand your giving nature." She says, "I've actually been around you before, observing, before deciding whether to connect you to." And she says, I have observed your giving nature. I know how much you wanted to give back. So I let you guys communicate for a little while. And then I said, okay, this is my turn to step up, she says. And because even having the ability, we appreciate hearing from others that do, right? It's just like, as musicians, we may be a musician, but we also likely appreciate other people that are musical as well, and or whatever else. And she says that she hopes that I find some involvement in the things that I'm wishing to get involved in, and that in the dreams that I'm trying to make come true. She says, you truly do deserve it, and you are loved. To me, she says. But she says, I think everybody should know that they're loved. She says, love makes the world go round. It should. So there you have it. She's asking if she's being too energetic for me. You might be being too energetic for your loved one. It's 3 in the morning, almost 3 in the morning there, and she probably wants to get to bed. But I noticed that there's a couple of your comments that are not in caps, and then they went to caps again. If you're doing it like how I do it, it's emphasizing it. But I'm not too sure if I'm quite following the reasoning behind some of it. But I mean, you didn't say David is alive. Uh, so I don't know if that means that he's ill right now or something, but whew, my head is tired. My head is tired. Like he says, that's exactly what you do when you're tired. Then you take a breather and you rest. I didn't know that. Just say, well, now you do. My goodness, she's a hoot. She did a funny little dance. Hello, interesting channel name. Thank you for saying that. Even though you might be hearing what we're talking about right now, if you can see how the two can coexist, religious belief and this beautiful ability, that is great. I don't feel that he knew Jesus knew me individually and that he would die for every single one of us. Um, but thank you. I hope that you not only love people with the love of, uh, you know, Jesus, but also the love that you have within yourself. I think that some people, say, well, I am the way I am because it's God's teaching. And I'm not saying it's not, but it's also because it's the right way to be, a loving person. He does know you, he has no limits. See, this is what I feel, and I thought that, maybe she didn't stay to hear the rest of it, but yeah. I feel that there is a God. I'm agnostic, but I don't feel he's almighty. Of course, I feel more of a belief in him when things are going well. Things are usually going decent, but yeah. So, how long have you been listening for, Becky? I keep thinking it's Becky. I don't know if that's a last name or what, but how much of this have you been watching, out of curiosity? Whew. Sorry. I have to bring this upstairs. Actually, I really should go back over here. Then I won't be quite in the same line with that. As far as this goes, now sure, heck, I'll bring it over there. I don't know if I need to do anything on it or will, but would have been kind of nice if that individual had gotten a bit more kind of into my life stuff, like, a bit more specific about some of the things I've been going through. I'm not going to say I don't feel like she had a gift, but has a gift, but and she certainly put her energy into chatting with me. Whoops, and I appreciate that, but I guess I was wanting to go deeper, but it is what it is. Becky, are you still there? Yeah, I think you thought he had an opinion about this. I thought, oh, maybe. It's almost been 2 hours. I'm a little. I would enjoy that, but I'm not. Uh, I don't know how I want to write that in. Hey, she got on me. I mean, this is how we all got here. She got on me because of that genre. Then I would say, well, you were playing a certain sort of role in an acting thing recently that I don't think is kosher. So, I mean, Yeah. Sorry, but true. Kathy. Who do we have watching? Is it somebody who's already in the chat? I'm gonna see if I can get connected and see if it loads differently. But I think it seems to be showing me most of them. I haven't done the wrap-up screen yet to see how many it says, how many chat has been, but I'm happy. A little bit more, I'd also be fine with, as long as they're genuinely trying to be a good part of the conversation, and decent. Um, but yeah, it's not that I don't have a social day later today, but again, it's at a workshop where the leader is going to be leading most of it. There might be a couple little side activities or whatever, and a little bit of socializing, but yeah, and then I'm going to kind of be playing meditation thing over the break time. Uh, so and I don't have to say a lot. I can share that with her. Say a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. The dog's being so good, but I just want to get this. Yeah, we need more. We need more. And I got to try and remember to call him before. And I also don't know if there's a whole lot that I could really do to eradicate it. This health condition that I'm dealing with. So it is what it is. So to the two people that are here right now, and that's one of them is Becky, I haven't seen any new comments. Hopefully you might consider putting a lovely comment. But where did I put that? I think I left it in the kitchen, and I just got up. And then the dog always feels he has to get up every time I do, even though I could walk around him. He doesn't seem to like those juices. I didn't eat that one very much. Where is that? Oh, I'm wearing it around I tied it around myself. My goodness gracious. You're being good, aren't you? Well, you have that thing you can enjoy. Okay. Well, I don't know what to say, folks. There's two people watching, and I appreciate you being here, and hopefully you're liking the vibe and enjoy listening, because there's lots of stuff on YT that you could watch. But if you haven't liked yet, please do. And yeah, hopefully you're getting an accurate perception of me. And I would like to get to know you in chat. But again, like I say, it's either not showing or you're not putting. So I don't know what to think. I mean, I could wait a little while and see if, hopefully, a very short while and see if somebody might be able to come in and tell me what I'm not seeing. Because there was actually a case of that earlier today. And I haven't seen any of the regulars. Oh, there was one. Definitely a few regulars to the channel. Usually the other ones show up. So. So I don't know. Maybe what I'll work on is kind of an idea for wrapping this one up. And then it's about 10 o'clock. And I've got some time, but and like other than having that other piece of pizza and maybe trying to see if I can work on my writing project, and maybe looking at, catching up with other things online. I don't have anything that I absolutely have to do. I would ask for a moment, white light healing energy. That's coming back into the conversation for a moment because I feel like there is a Isabel. No? Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's what I'm sensing. Okay, and that sent two of you away in fear. So scatter. Or at least it looks like that you have. I just sat back down. I don't really want to. I don't have one near me. I have lots. We have lots of them, but I don't have one near me. I am hearing though that whoever is trying to connect with one of the viewers in an angelic way, I'm kind of sort of picking up on they're not into it. They're not open to it. That the individual who I'm feeling the presence of would really love it if they were, but they're not, and they don't want to push it. Uh, if somebody isn't ready, which is very interesting. I must say I don't really sense that very often. All right, on my own, I'm always happy to do so. So, okay, okay. Do you want to introduce your angelic energy to me for a moment and just have a bit of a chat with me? And I'm getting a little bit of like they're feeling awkward, which is weird because from ones I'm not familiar with. I'm not saying that the person isn't friendly, but I'm or the being, the entity, whatever you want to call it. But what I am saying is that they're a little bit uncertain. Like they're like you are hearing me. You are definitely hearing me. You are sensing me, kind of thing. But I guess maybe they're sort of thinking that they're not understanding why I'd want to just communicate with them if they can't talk to their loved one. Well, I mean, it's an opportunity for you. And again, I really appreciate the YT community. It's a large part of my social life, not only, but a fairly large part. And I really am very thankful. And all the great stuff that I try and put forth musically, healing energy, healing in this way or otherwise, and in general, the connections I have here, I really do appreciate. It's an opportunity if something resonates with them, if they're like, oh, this definitely sounds like so and so, then that might precipitate something. She's like, okay, let me grab this seat right here then. So it's a female energy. And what's weird is that I almost think the slight visual I'm getting, she almost looks like the other lady's loved one. But I don't sense that that's who it was. And she certainly wasn't shy. She says, I am a little shy. Okay. Well, I want you to be comfortable in our home. I want you to be comfortable, with me. Um, she says, I appreciate that. So I'm not really used to doing it quite in this way. So how are we doing this? I mean, you want to tell me a bit about you, your life, how you passed away, what? And bear in mind, I've been rolling for almost 2 hours with this one. I started pretty early in my day. I have been, living my life, and I have chronic fatigue syndrome. So I'm not trying to say excuses, but I am struggling a little bit. But then again, she might not be being very forthcoming either. I feel like she's really thinking about what she wants to say. She's like, and I'm struggling because you're still talking. Okay, I'm not going to take that as hostile. I just need a moment. Okay. Interesting energy. She says, thank you. um, and even though I sense her in the room, it's kind of like communicating with telepathy. It's an ability, and it does take energy. It's communicating from a different realm. It's not like your usual way of communicating. It's not that it's unusual. I'm very used to it, but and again, yeah. So she says, "How many people are watching what you're doing?" I'm saying one. She's like, "I guess that's my loved one. Maybe it is." She says she had a very hard life. She had a very hard life, and she doesn't like to talk about it much because she's better now. But she says that she doesn't feel that her loved one is doing very well. She doesn't feel like her loved one is in a good headspace. And she says, I didn't want to make you uncomfortable. Okay, the viewer left. They're like, oh my, why did they leave? She said. If I had to guess, I would guess that maybe I would hope, well, not because it's not a positive, but I would hope it was because um, it was resonating with them, and they're like, no way, I've got to step away from him. I don't want to miss anything, but there's no way he's communicating with my loved one, and he just said what he just said. Like, oh my gosh, accurate. That's the confidence I have because I've had this ability for a while. So I even though this isn't one of my loved ones, I would like to believe that. She says, are they back yet? No. Their phone may have also died. Or there could be that, or maybe something came up. Guess there's a possibility too. They could be letting their loved ones know. It's the kind of thing when we come on here with this, it's not something that somebody's used to or ever experienced or been around much. They might not know how to process it. Uh, she says, process what's happening right now. She says, you're an individual I've never met, and I'm talking to you. Likewise. I mean, I must say you have a very relaxed home. Pretty much, usually, and I appreciate that. Uh, they're still not back yet. So what do we do then? She says, just sit here and wait. I don't know. I don't know. And what's hard is the image isn't staying strong in my mind. Like it's there, and then it's like I'm just seeing the chair. So she's like, oh, so I'm just a chair now to you. She's kind of funny. She's kind of sarcastic. I don't want to say aggressive. She says, I'm not aggressive. I'm sorry if you see it that way, she says. I like your feistiness. She's like, I'll take it. She's like, I'm glad you like that. I have a question. Can I ask you a couple questions? Sure. Well, actually, you already answered what I was going to say. Is there a possibility that you have known me in my life, and you also may have known one of the viewers who may have been here or maybe isn't here, but is meant to be here and hopefully finds their way here soon? She said, I was told to try and get a message to them to be listening for me. So I tried to do that. I didn't know exactly what to say. But I nudged them to go to YouTube. So where are they? Are they there? They're not yet. She's like, well, that's annoying. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh at that, but I guess it is. I would love to be hearing that this resonates with somebody. There's nobody here at the moment. So let's just. She's asking, do I struggle with mental health? Somewhat. At times. She says, I'm sorry to hear that. Again, when I feel these energies around, it's usually not my loved ones. But when I do, I do. And a lot of times I don't, and it's kind of lonely and isolating unless I'm streaming or G's around or whatever. She says, I remember what that was like. It didn't feel very great. She says she is doing better now, but when she's thinking back to how life was for her, she feels a bit emotional about it. It was very briefly something else. I haven't watched a lot back since we've had our AC hooked up to see how loud it is, but I know it's loud. So, no, I mean, we don't have to focus on that stuff. I think this is because I think that, even though it's about certain things that people have certain opinions and they're aggressive and negative or whatever, then we won't, you know, we'll handle that. But other than that, I think I'm fine. There's a post it, so hopefully people, they're like, okay, they maybe notice about what area, and I will, yeah. They could say usual challenge. Well, what part of this video is that it? So I'm gonna try and remember about 150, 145 maybe. So you play music. You do. That's good. Would you like to play me something? I appreciate the offer. I don't know what I'd play. I'm quite tired, but maybe if your loved one tunes in and we get to chat, and they might say, I always think of her when I think of this song, or she always loved this song, and we'll go from there. How's that sound? So it sounds like a fair deal to me. Really, she is a lovely person. She is a very lovely person. She's got a quirky sense of humor. Uh, uh, and I think we're warming up to each other a little bit. Uh, she's like, don't get any ideas. Okay, I wasn't really your angel, but anyway. She's like, I sure am. And she looks really happy about it. So, do you want to tell me where you lived in the world, if you remember, for your passing? Europe, I heard. Um, and she's saying that, yeah. I was going to try and ask her what kind of work she did. She said she didn't want to talk about that. I did get a slight sense of it, but then it's kind of like it wasn't something she found herself being really able to settle into and do, and so she doesn't want to talk about it. And she says that it can be hard to hold a job sometimes. She said it got to a point for her where she kind of didn't try to anymore. Have I ever felt that way? She said. Sometimes, sometimes, you know, working for someone else, uh, uh, you know, uh, you know, uh, whether it's a training level or whether it's being able to access it and get to it. Uh, she says, I know it's hard, right? Sometimes for some of us. She says, can I address something that because I was here earlier? She says, but I didn't say anything. And I, so I mean, she says that she does like she already did like me, saw that I'm able to do what I do, the channeling, but she says she hasn't communicated, this type of communication. So even though she saw some of that transpire earlier, she didn't know if I'd actually be able to hear her. And uh, so, but she said, but I did hear something, and I think you've been thinking about it a little bit. She's saying, actually, you know what? I forgive him. Because a certain somebody was talking, I don't remember how it came up, but before he left, he was talking about somebody at some sort of, was on some the spectrum in some sort of way or whatever, in a way that they could only communicate with sound. And he said she'd make a great opera singer. He probably didn't say it to her. He said it to me this morning. And I mean, I don't know if she would have understood that if he'd said it to her. If she would, I don't think she'd find that very complimentary, personally. And if she didn't, the person that was probably helping her out probably wouldn't have. So, and I think it's one of the volunteers, actually. I hate to call him this early, but since the thought went through his head and I remembered it, I'm just going to give him a very quick call. You're welcome to get your name. That's an introduction. Going well there, is it? Good, good. Uh, yeah, so I'm just doing a stream, but I just wanted to quickly call you. I am going out later, but so I just wanted to, yeah, call and remind you to get lotion. Hopefully, see that messenger. And then also, I wanted to speak about just for a moment. You had said something about, I think it's one of the volunteers there that has some sort of autism or something. And yeah, I just wanted to say that I know you were trying to be funny. I wouldn't recommend necessarily saying that statement to anybody else there. I don't know if they take it that way. Yeah. What do you mean? It's how they verbalize. That's all it is. Oh, is that what you mean? It might be. I'm not too sure. It could be something else, but I don't know about that. Yes, but it's certainly not. That I mean, I know you were trying to put it, but it's certainly not my choice. Appreciate. I mean, if you put it that way, I mean, I don't know if I or you would be able to kind of do music therapy, and that's something else. You know, like to think about that kind of feel, you know, the type of individuals that we be working with, and how easy would that be for the people, for us, when we're able to communicate. But no, right, right. How much did she say? Right. Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know how the dog would be around that. I mean, I know he's here with us, but that's a little different. But I don't know. It might be something. I don't know, to maybe see about, in the time that you still have there. If you see the individual about, maybe connecting over music or something. I don't know. Just a thought. You're welcome to be here. Well, be careful. I don't know how you do that, but anyway. You're welcome to be here. Okay. Maybe what we could do, though, I'm just kind of thinking, now that the nicer weather is here, if they like the offer of having a therapeutic music get together, maybe we could find somewhere in public to connect, and then we don't have to worry about the dog or anything, or we could put him upstairs. I'm not offering to be her worker. and that you yourself also, uh, you know, play what you play. Yeah, I mean, obviously we could do anything with the piano. I mean, maybe it would just be a once or twice kind of thing. I don't know. It seems to be something that came up, so keep it in mind. Okay, I'll let you get back to it. Don't forget to try Lotion and see that messenger note later, and we'll talk to you later. Okay, bye. Okay, he took it well. He was in a really good mood. Green. Steve? Steve, just kidding. Who do we got watching? I'm really sorry if your comments aren't showing up, but hopefully somebody will. There's two people here, it looks like. I'm going to be wrapping up soon. That other individual was like, well, since I've been interrupted, where did we go from here? No, let's let the viewers kind of, if anybody was here earlier and heard something that resonated, maybe it went from 1 to 2 to 1 to 2, then feel free to put, and again, really sorry, I'm not ignoring any comments. It might not be showing some. And she says, well, that would be stupid. Yeah, it would be, but, you know, the platform does that sometimes. But anyway, Steve is saying that he's always just here wishing us both well, sending us love. I think you might want something a little bit deeper than that. He says he'll try to visit him later. He says that we're glad that we're enjoying life with each other, but that, and he's certainly been around, but that he doesn't really know me. He doesn't want, by the way, although now it says nobody's watching, but what do you think on that, sensitive Steve? I've noticed you have your moments, he says. Is that an interesting thing to say? He says hi to the other individual. I appreciate the YT community. Feel free to comment, you know, hopefully a lovely and genuine comment. And if I see it, I'll read it. Let me just quickly check something here. 10:24. I'll go for the half hour. It's out past the morning, that's for sure. Then I want to focus on some other things, which probably won't take me the whole time before I head out later. But I mean, I think I've only had one kind of connection, maybe two with Steve in this way, and I never knew him. So it's kind of like you guys have a very nice home for yourselves. And I'm just glad to see you happy. He says that he's a little bit more deep internally a lot of the times. And that hasn't changed, he says. He likes people, but he says he was one of those that often, maybe not always, but often appreciated the traits that they had that he didn't. I don't want to distract you with this, you know, this, that, but also I'm late, but it was very interesting. I said that, and I was like, and then I don't know why I connected that with Steve. I really don't. There's no Steve in the band. Green. I don't know. I know that there's definitely Freddie Mercury. I heard that song once or twice. I don't know it very well. I really don't know why he just came up. I feel like there was some sort of connection, but I really don't know. Be the queen that we want to be. He says, do I have to have a reason to say hello? He says that, yeah, he is with us during this time that we're going through, trying to figure out some things. And yeah, he says he's sending love. He says he knows I'm a good person. He says, and maybe I misinterpreted sometimes, and the one person is left, but just as I said, good person. But he certainly doesn't dislike me, he says. He says, are there some. He says, I don't want to say the wrong thing. It's very interesting for him to say this. He says, I don't dislike you. He says, and I'm very happy that you guys have each other in your lives. But he says he struggles to understand sometimes why things are the way they are for me. You and I both, bud. I mean, it's not that I don't think on it often, I'm not too sure what he's getting at. He says, I really just want to let you know my love and care. He says, and I think that's where we should leave this. That I'm unsure about showing this to G now. He says, I would like him to know that we connected today. Okay. But I mean, things are never going to be perfect. There's always going to be, we're different people, so we have different standards or desires for certain things. And that I understand that. He says, but you've got a very special person in him. And he says, and I know that you do realize that. What are you getting at, Steve? I mean, seriously. He says, one thing I will say is that I was very happy to hear that you got on the same page about, how one can be healthy. One can, not have any reason to think that they've passed away and possibly pass away. And he says, what? He says, I'm not saying it's a short period of time, but I'm not saying it's a long period of time. He's saying that I have overheard that that whose journey might not be as long as we think it is or should be. And I'm not liking hearing this. He says, I mean, this is something that I do and don't worry about very often. Well, I already do that. I mean, I can't be around him all the time, even when he's not at work. Is this why the thing's happening with work? So he's like he said, so that he's around more. I mean, we do need to have our space, and he needs to be able to focus on the things he wants to do by himself. I don't want to wrap up because I want to see what else might unfold, and I still have a bit of time. So if you're welcome to comment. I'm just making a quick phone call. I may have to wait on hold for a few minutes. But yeah, I welcome you to comment. If I see it, I'll read it. But there's somebody here that doesn't seem to be saying anything. I don't want to interrupt you if you're typing. I don't know if it's going to show up or not, but hopefully it would. But I'm kind of thinking I'd like to comment afterwards. You can't. Okay, you left. Okay. Listen. And then I put that there, which is not what you're doing. It's about MS. So I don't know what that's saying. Saying it's about MS, but it seems right. He's never had that. It is a neurological thing like epilepsy, though. It says, I know you're sensitive to anxiety. I didn't want to bring this up. But you did. Says, I'm really sorry, buddy. Want to give me a hug? And I'm going to hug the guy as well. Up there. Who's speaking? Oh, yeah. Well, it's going all right. I started chatting with her to also sort of with the topic. I am going out later today to group and looking forward to that. But I just I had this is a bit unique. But I had an experience where I sometimes pick up on English from the outside, and I just heard from the late partner of my partner, who seems to be saying that her partner's health condition is not bad at the moment, but does have an underlying health condition that it may get worse and that he might not live as long as he intended to. And this is their yeah. At first I wasn't picking up any specifics, but it seems like it could be to do with the epilepsy, which the medication has been helping. There hasn't been any issues with it quite a while. I wanted to both, share this experience with my spouse until it kind of took that turn. Kind of like, I think the biggest thing is really to just remember to kind of cherish the time that we do have with each other. I don't know if I want to try and get more information, if I'd be even able to. And then also, as much as the cherishing thing makes a lot of sense, it's still not really helping my anxiety of receiving this information that he feels he received and relayed to me. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and the thing is like I have had a number of experiences even earlier today, although one was with someone I wasn't really familiar with, where I don't necessarily take it, and I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying I don't take it with a grain of salt. Like I believe, and I know that life is right now. You know, um, but when you get it hit up, if that's something, like I guess I experienced that. Thinking about my grandma a little earlier today, and I guess I experienced that with her because she was getting ill, and that. And my grandfather, they were both elderly. I've had some sudden passings in my life, and yeah, I've been through a lot of that kind of stuff actually. Maybe why I pick up on these kind of things when I do, but I've not had an experience like this where it's kind of like, and I haven't even really associated with him all that much. So he was also letting me know that he's here with love, and that that basically he doesn't dislike me, and that and he was alluding to me having some sort of struggle at one point when this just transpired, and I think maybe it might be these that I have, and that he didn't want to worry me, but he said it. So I mean, you know, um, yeah, it's kind of like so basically what I'm getting at, I'm not used to necessarily having this heads up that there might be like something, I mean, but at the same time, like his medication does seem to be working. I don't really think that there's anything that a doctor can tell him that unless it started to you started to see that it was worsening, and then maybe have to make a medication change or I don't know what. But I mean, I'm not sure if it's going to get to the point where we get that kind of um, lack of a different word, fluctuate, or if it's going to be something very sudden.
You're no, I
Right.
think that's probably what you're experiencing with having that conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, and I don't know if I should tell, I suppose either, because I certainly don't want to get worried. But I mean, when you get this kind of information with a illness or I mean, when you get this information, it's kind of like a chance to kind of look at you know your life and what you want to do with it. And so, I mean, I don't. I think that my spouse is fairly content with life, and I mean, we have been going through like maybe soon losing his employment, and I don't have active employment. I do get my disability checks. We have uh, we have we have some silver linings in this news, but it's and I honestly don't feel like it's also that like I mean my spouse knows that I've been through a lot and that I feel kind of like you know the, you know that I you know worry about my loved ones and that, but he usually doesn't. And so the other day um, kind of said actually something around this line. I wasn't thinking about it at the time that I had the experience, and there was an introduction to then getting that information. So this is why I would say I think it's more of a coincidence than having kind of had my spouse say something sort of around the lines of the fragility of life and then finding out this day. Um, but it's kind of, um, you know, uh, I think that there are some good things coming up, and the loss of the employment until more is until that's fixed again does mean we'll be around each other more. Mixed feelings, honestly. I mean, mostly happy about it, but yeah, there's some different groups that we want to look at, and I'm not really sure. There's a lot of kind of uncertainty in some areas as well too, though. But it's kind of like, yeah. I mean, I guess what I'm really, what really is at play here is the mixed feelings, anxiety, the do I tell him, and yeah. I mean, obviously, he's probably not gonna, make any do anything different than the normal if I don't tell him. I mean, I could kind of tell him a little bit about not tell him.
The decision that you need to make in the immediate? Is this something that you can kind of think about and do some nice things for yourself and kind of come to the answer in that way? Because I can hear from you, I can see both sides of telling and not telling.
Right, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how to. Yeah, like I say, I don't know how to decide. Um, I guess I almost feel like, well, it'll happen as it's meant to. But I'd like to be a bit prepared than that. I'd like to, if I'm deciding that it shouldn't, be doing what I need to do to make sure that it doesn't, or vice versa. Um, like, yeah, struggle, and then talk about it with somebody, and that's accessible. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a unique one. I don't really, you know, um, the kind of things that he would want to do. I mean, yeah, we could say, okay, well, maybe we should just up the medication, even though we don't see a reason yet to, or we're not sure if we need to. But I don't want him to, I think he might not have a high tolerance for medication. So what he's on now might, what he's doing now for his health, is maybe honestly the best he can do. I've worried a little bit lately that he might develop diabetes. He doesn't seem to have the same worry, but no, I'm hearing the other. Um, and it's not something that hasn't been a real big problem from lately. It's not really even something I've usually been thinking about. Although, I guess it did cross my mind the other day that once he is no longer working, I'll be able to kind of be around in case something happens. But yeah, basically, I don't know. I mean, he'd probably want to see his only living and connected sibling. I mean, family is a bit of a hard one for us. I think that people kind of feel a little bit mixed about that idea. But and what I think is kind of cute and try not to let on to it. So I mean, I don't think that we necessarily want to tell her why he did. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I go back to I think he's pretty content. He's happy that it's starting season now. I mean, I guess this is not something that I can really answer for him, because knowing him as I do. Um, yeah, I think he'd like to, say, do this group stuff that we're talking about. He'd like to not be traveling, although, maybe that could be changes. But then again, we're not really able to either.
Where, you know, asking if that that information is something that he would want to know without, going into details to kind of, assess that a little bit to say, hey, if you have this information, is that something you want to know? In a no pressure kind of, you know, more of a hypothetical way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Just a couple feelers.
any question, but no, that makes that could be a very interesting conversation, and because honestly none of us really does know. I mean, it could be a real benefit to both of us. I remember a little while ago I wrote out a thing. It used to be on the fridge for a while. I think it's somewhere on the couch here, but I wrote out a thing that was kind of like, this is my hopes when I pass away, that people, things that people might be able to continue to do or whatever. And then I started to look at it as a little bit of a bucket list. but I've looked at it 2 or 3 times and thought, like one of them was have some parties, even if they're not large. I mean, I guess if they're not large, that might be a bit easier these days, with it being a quieter chapter and mostly having acquaintances. But donating clothing and that. I mean, we don't drive, but we could figure out a way. But with that one, it's kind of like we either have stuff I don't think is worth donating that I'm keeping for some reason, or that, and it's not always because I'm wearing it, but so I do find that hard. But
form a partner, and you guys can come up with a bit of a bucket list together.
yeah, I know that I have that. I have that movie actually, but I tried to play it in a machine actually fairly recently, and wasn't able to. But yeah, no, that could be pretty fun. So, um, and I think that puts a nice positive spin on it, and I don't even necessarily have to say why I'd like to do it, and see where that goes. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for chatting, and have a good day. Shauna. Okay. Um, she did not gauge it well. We were in a positive headspace around this. I was saying, I mean, I was looking forward to it, but she, in her line of work, she feels like she's supposed to ask a certain something. And, well, I didn't let her go there. We could have went deep and philosophical on that, or we could have went deeper on that topic, but I don't think I want to. I mean, heck, I mean, I'm not at all thinking. If it was the kind of thing I'd be comfortable doing, then I'd say, yeah, let's take it. Let's go actually be up there with them. But it's not. I have to keep living. I have to keep living, and we have to keep making the most of that. So that's what it is. But yeah, those kind of people should not be working there. They don't. They don't understand how communication goes, and they don't understand that sometimes a stupid rule doesn't need to be followed. Anyway, but welcome, welcome. And also, I didn't really have energy to get into a deep topic like that. I mean, if somebody has something stressing them out that they feel they need to talk about, if I see your comment, I can try and help. But I am thinking I'm gonna. Okay, you left. I've got like an hour and actually almost 2 hours still. Assuming that she doesn't get here right at the top of that hour. And I don't need that much energy. Steve, are you still here? He says, I am. I wasn't going to leave your side in that moment. And I'm sorry that, what was a good conversation with that person, you know, uh, brought up that other topic. Uh, all of us here are totally fine waiting for you guys. Uh, we are just that, totally fine. We are happy. He says, you're at the 240 mark. Aside from sending my love, sending the fact that I like you, uh, you know, um, and that yes, you should work on it because everybody should. He says, I wish you luck on, wishes me luck on the writing project. He had a writing project that he never brought to be. He says, maybe it's not meant to, maybe it is. He's not bothered by it either way. Uh, he says he has no particular hopes either way to it. But I would like to welcome in the person that just got here. Do feel free to like and comment. Hopefully, a lovely and genuine comment. Um, and I'm just kind of um, thinking on something um, and taking a moment for that. I do want to make sure that I have it in audio because I want to look back at it. Um, And it'd be really great if the person here is somebody that is really to have a bit of a conversation for a little while before I wrap up. I can't make you, I understand that, but I think we could have a lovely conversation. And if your comments show up, that'll make it easier. In the meantime, I just need to take a moment in the other room. So, not a lot going on in my environment, but there's a little, that's for sure. You can call this a little, hey? I just really wanted to say how lovely it was to make a connection with you today. Who's saying it? Hi, Steve. I'm saying it. And you know that, he says. It was really lovely. I'm sure you're going to have a lovely afternoon at your get together with how you birds it. I'm just so happy to see you guys happy. I did not intend to worry you or either of you. Make the most of your life. Grab it, hold on tight, and enjoy it. All right, buddy? Well, I've got to say, I think there was 2, maybe 3 people there when I briefly stood up there for a moment. But it's indicating one person, and I'm going to guess that it's the person that's been here for about almost 10 minutes. Almost 10 minutes. Unfortunately, if you're commenting, I'm not seeing anything. If you're not, I'm kind of here for a bit of conversation at this point. I don't really have a lot of other ideas to put into this. I'm happy with it being long form organic as it is naturally. If you do want to try and put a comment, you can do so after the video is posted. I'd be fine with that. Hopefully that would show up. I hope that it's, like I say, a kind, genuine, curious, comment. And I think I'm going to wrap up now. I wish you a lovely rest of your day. And yeah, maybe we'll connect later. Take care.